Hi, everybody. We will get started here to talk to Seesaw in just a couple minutes. Attendees are starting to enter the room, and then we'll get going. Ooh, there's a lot of people coming in. I don't see Courtney yet. We're excited to have so many folks join us as part of this webinar series statewide, and I will talk about the AEA webinar series here when we get going. See a lot of familiar, some of my GWAEA peeps. There's Courtney. Here we go. Okay, we'll give it a couple more seconds. I'm not gonna go a couple more minutes. All right. So we are live right now, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. My name is Stacy Beamer. I am the coordinator of digital learning and media services here at Grantwood AEA out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa City area. And we are excited to have our AEA webinar series to support online learning. So over the next 3 weeks, the AEAs have partnered with different AEAs have partnered with school districts to share some online learning tools and resources and instructional strategies as we head into kind of a crazy fall. But with the end goal of, always trying to help support our teachers and help support our students make some growth this year. One of the good things that has come out of this is I think the freedom to be able to take some risks as we try new things for some people, or just to try different things. Like, we are providing instruction and having to engage kids in different ways. So that's what this whole webinar series is about, is just to provide some supports. After all of our series will be recorded, and those links to the recordings and any resources that we have to share will be added to that document. So if you are able to join us live, that's great. For these webinars, obviously those of you who are listening to me are listening to this live, but after the fact, if you can't reach any, there will be recordings. And if you need any follow-up support or questions, reach out to your local AEA. There are tech consultants, digital learning consultants is what we call them in my shop, that would be happy to help do some follow-up support and professional learning as we get going. If you have any questions, we have folks joining us in a couple different places. Actually 3 different places. We have one person joining us, or not one person, we have people joining us via Facebook Live. So feel free to use the chat or the comment features in Facebook if you have questions as we get going for Courtney and Julie. Or if you are on Zoom with us as an attendee, feel free to use the Q&A feature or the chat to drop some questions in. And as Courtney and Julie are presenting and sharing about Seesaw with us today, I will jump in and might interrupt with some questions as we go. So I'll be monitoring those chats and see what we can get for you. So I would like to just see who's here. So because we have people in different locations, there is a bit.ly. So if you're able to open this bit.ly AEA webinar sign in, I will put it in the chat too, for you to just provide us with who you are and a little bit about yourself. So if we need to do any follow-up, we are able to do that. So I'm going to throw that into the chat in Zoom. Too many windows open, and thank you very much. And then I will throw this in the comments on Facebook so you can look at it there as well when we get going. Okay, done. Okay. So now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let Julie and Courtney from Dubuque Community School District introduce themselves and talk Seesaw.
Hi, welcome today. I am Julie Lang. I'm the Director of Digital Literacy for the Dubuque Community School District, and we have some Seesaw things for you.
My name is Courtney Whitert. I am a technology coach at Prescott Elementary in Dubuque, and I'm going to help Julie present today.
Courtney's a Seesaw extraordinaire person, so we're in good hands today. I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to give you Seesaw as an experience with the student view. So I am going to share here on the student view. So if you can't see for some reason, please go ahead and indicate that in the chat, but you should be able to see my account here. I am in Miss Whitert's class as a student, and I'm going to go through a few things that make Seesaw so engaging and fun for students. So the first thing, I'm in my journal. As a student, I'm going to go ahead and log on, or I've already logged on. I'm going to add, and I'm going to go ahead and respond to maybe something my teacher has asked me to do by choosing a photo. And I can either choose to take a photo, or I can use a photo that I already have on my, I can't do a photo right now because I'm on the Zoom. But photo would be one of those options. I could add a photo that I already had on my desktop, or I could take a live photo and submit that to an answer to a question that maybe a teacher had or something that I wanted to work on. Another feature, something that I could use would be to add a drawing. And as you can see around the drawing feature, there is the capability to record over, to add some text, and then to add some fun things. So let's click draw. Really, when you click draw, you have a blank canvas. And on this blank canvas, there are a lot of things to talk about here. But if I just click somewhere in here, I'm going to start using that drawing tool pencil. I could just draw. And I'm going to move my Zoom people out here. I can click on any color at any time and use that drawing feature to record whatever it is I wanted to respond to my teacher. Maybe my teacher's asked me, what are my 3 favorite things? And I could draw them. I have all of these tool features down here where I can, of course, erase. I can use all these features. All of the pens down here do something different. So if I were to think about my 3 favorite things here in just a minute when I get started, I would have all of these opportunities down here and all of these different colors. If I wanted to start over, I could just trash that and it would say, do you want to delete this? And I could do that as well. So I also, on the left-hand side, I have text that I could add. I could record something. I could take a picture or upload a picture. I can also click those 3 dots and decide to design my response. So maybe I want to add a background. So I'm going to choose a background here for talking about my favorite things. I'm going to choose this right here. And so when I do that, then if the question was, what are your 3 favorite things, then maybe I want to draw one. And 3 of my favorite things right now just have to do with family, my daughters. Maybe another thing that I want to do is, let's see. I don't think it's going to let me, it might let me upload a photo. Let's say I'm just going to go to my camera roll and I'm going to say, I don't want to use one of those. I'm going to use another one of my favorite things are candy. I really like candy. So this is just as easy, just what you're seeing for the kids as it is for me. I'm going to upload another photo from my camera roll or my pictures. And another one of my favorite things right now is, we've been playing a lot of games at our house, so I'm going to choose that. So I have 3 of my favorite things. I can also then record. So this is where the engagement piece comes in for kids. Not only can they put a video, they can do pictures, but they could also record. And so I'm on Edge and it can only be in Chrome. I didn't think about that. So, but in Chrome, I could record then over there. My 3 favorite things are spending time with my family, eating lots of candy, and playing games right now. When I'm done, by the way, I'm going to show you how to add text. Every time I just click that T and I click somewhere, there's a text box that shows up. They're movable, they're editable. So if I just go ahead and click Candy, Candy, I can't talk and at the same time. I also can design these as well. So I can choose a style, I could choose the font, I could do lots of different things with them. I'm just going to leave it as is right now for you to see. And I can attach my, my label then to my picture. When I am all done, I can go ahead and use this green check mark, and that will go ahead and make it into my journal. It will go ahead and go right into my journal. And we'll see that on the teacher side in just a minute. It is waiting for teacher approval. Courtney today is going to be acting as the teacher, and I'm acting as the student. The other thing I can do is I could add a video, which I'm on my Zoom video or my camera right now, so it's not going to let me do that. But I could take a video and add that if I wanted to. I could also upload any file. So I can go ahead and from my computer, it says right here, I can add up to 10 images or 1 PDF or 1 video this way. So I can go ahead and I can go back and maybe I want this happy 100th day. I can go ahead and drag and drop that, grab that right there, check mark. And now that's now on my canvas. And again, I could add more text. I could record over top of it. I could add other things. I could design the background. I could give any kind of descriptor. And I can check mark. And this will go into my journal as well. So now I have 2 entries that are waiting for approval. Those 2 right there. So the other piece that makes Seesaw so exciting, and I'm going to stop for just a second. Stacy, are there any questions about any of those features where I choose the ad and I submit on my own as a student? Any of those ways?
No, not about that at this point in time. Nope.
Okay. So the next piece that makes Seesaw so engaging and really great for parents is that I have this activity light bulb tab right here. And so on this activity light bulb tab, I have a notification of 4. It means that my teacher, Miss Whiter, has assigned me 4 different activities. These are activities that could either be pushed out to the whole class or they could be pushed out to me individually, where this is where the teacher can differentiate for the child. So I'm going to click on that light bulb and my notifications tell me that I have 4 activities. And probably Miss Whiter has already given me direction on which one I should do. And so I'm going to say she said I should start with the letter and number sort. So as a student, I'm going to add this as a response. And when I add, this is the activity. You're going to notice some similarities. I still have my text feature, my record feature, my photo feature, my other features, all of my drawing tools. So one of the things that's really powerful about Seesaw is, as a student, it doesn't matter how I respond to this activity. If I needed to, I might have to record all of my answers. I can identify the letters, F, Y, S, so on. Or she has created this so I could drag and drop them. Maybe if I needed to, I could also take a pencil or a pen and I could just say, this is a number, this is a letter. So really, while the teacher has set this up one way, it offers a lot of different opportunity for kids to be able to meet their individual different needs. So I'm going to grab my little finger here that would be that indicates that I can move, and I'm going to drag and drop these, which is how this was actually created. But like I said, you can meet kids' individual needs. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And there are some underneath where I have all of you as Zoom over here. And so once I'm finished again, I can go ahead and look at my work. And if I'm satisfied, I can check it. Now, there isn't the immediate feedback given to me like, hey, that was wrong. But you're going to see in just a little bit where Courtney is going to give me feedback as the teacher on the teacher side.
Hey, Julie, could you show, someone did ask if you could show one more time how to add a photo from your computer or drive.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm just in my regular journal, so right here, I'm a student in Miss Whiter's class. My name is Prescott Dolphin, by the way, up here. I'm going to be in this journal feature. There is always this green add button right here. And green circles in Seesaw mean they're a big deal. So you're either adding or you're using the check mark to submit things. So I'm going to choose the add. And when I choose the add, I have 6 different ways that I can always add to my journal. I can use any of these. I'm going to choose drawing. Drawing is kind of one of those that Seesaw has really become known for, and they really put a lot of effort into beefing up the drawing portion of it, because we know that drawing, taking a picture, recording over top of it is really not only engaging for students, but it allows them that creativity. So once I click that, I get that canvas. And I just realized you wanted a photo, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to trash this. And I'm going to choose the photo. Now today, if I chose photo today, because I'm on Zoom right now using my camera, it's not going to allow me to do that. So I can add a photo in a couple different ways. Drawing, where I use my camera in this feature and I upload a photo, or I could take a live photo. I don't think it's going to let me though. Maybe it will. No, because I'm already in Zoom. Yeah, I'll upload one from my computer. I would have already grabbed photos and had them. I have a picture folder that I just keep all the time when I'm working and doing things. So let's say I wanted to have a nice background here. Then I can use this background. It drags and drops it right in as an image. I can size it, I can turn it, I can flip it. If I wanted to add text over top of this photo, I could do that. If I wanted to color over any of it, I could also do that. So there are a lot of different things that I could do with this picture. I can also record anything that I wanted to over top of it before I submitted it. And now again, this is me as a student doing that. Again, activities, I have number 5, I have another activity. I'm going to do one more activity, and then I'm going to have Courtney jump on as the teacher. So let's say Courtney has assigned me the long and short vowel sorting. I'm going to add. This automatically pulls it into my own journal. So now it's attached to my name as Prescott Dolphin. This is another sorting one where I'm going to choose the finger. And I'm going to, each of these are individual in here. So I'm going to say short vowels. And I'm going to say long vowels. And short vowels. And I'm going to do this one wrong, and we'll see if Miss Whiter, my teacher, recognizes that. So I would continue on all the way. Once I'm completely done, I would check mark. As a student, though, right up here, whatever instructions the teacher has given, I can view at any time. So she has told me to read the words at the bottom and drag the short vowel words to the green box. Drag the long vowel words to the blue box. Record yourself reading the short and long words. Courtney also provided, as the teacher, play instructions for me, because if I'm, 5 or 6 or 7, I might need to hear these. So I could play these. So that's just Courtney, my teacher's voice, telling me those directions, exactly what I just read, but she's also reading those to me. Once I'm done, as a student, I check mark. If I've done my best work, I get in there and it automatically, I'm logged in, so it's already going just right to my journal.
Here's a question about the journals that came up. Is there a limit to the amount of items that are in a journal? There are 2 different versions of Seesaw. There's the free version, and then there is a paid Seesaw for schools version. The number of items in a journal, I don't know that there's necessarily a number of items in a journal. There are limits for the free version on number of kids you can have in a class, number of co-teachers you can have, number of activities you can have. In the paid version, really, it's pretty unlimited for that. And the AEAs have worked on some pricing for Seesaw for Schools. So if you're interested in that, reach out to your AEA, because there is some pricing on that. Another question that just came in is, how do you get the icons in the directions?
So there is, if you search for Seesaw, and I can actually provide those to Stacy too while Courtney is on, Seesaw has its own little kind of like language. And so, so for that language, they have like their own little coding piece, and on that coding piece, then they provide those different graphics and images that's kind of like code when you're writing the activity. That's what they're going to do. So Yeah, that's how that works.
And then one other question that's come in, is there a way to keep a post from the teacher at the top of the Seesaw feed, similar to what you can do with announcements on Facebook?
Like within the activities, you mean?
I don't know. So if Joyce wants to post another question or clarify in the chat, that would be great.
Okay.
But
And I'm
either
gonna be
way,
moving,
with
you're
an
gonna see some
activity or with
movement
a,
here.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh, we're good.
We're good. He's on different.
all right.
All right, you ready for me to take over?
Will you repeat that question one more time? If there is a way, if a teacher,
Yeah.
sorry, we thought we were being kicked out of a room for a second, and then they came back in and said no, but did they need one of these chairs?
No, I think they're okay.
Okay.
Is there a way a post from a teacher at the top of a Seesaw feed, similar to what you can do with announcements on Facebook? So I'm wondering if you can pin like an assignment or like an activity, or like an announcement. That's when they open up Seesaws. Is there something that can always be standing at top?
So as far as activities, it's always the last activity that the teacher put in for activities. As far as the inbox and announcements, it would be the latest. So I wouldn't say there's not a pinning, it's the latest one. And there is a calendar feature which teachers can use to push out. So when students log in, they always have the most recent. So there is a workflow for that. All right, I'm gonna have Courtney jump on now as the teacher so you can see the teacher side of it.
All right, so right now you are looking at my teacher view of Seesaw. As you can see, it says Miss Weidert's class right here. My name is right here and it says teacher. So that's kind of how you know you're in the teacher view of it. As I'm looking through this, I can see all my students' work that have been submitted. Oh, I need to share. Sorry. I don't have a share option. Hang on. There it is. All right. Can we see my screen now? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm in my teacher view of Seesaw. As you can see, I have my name up in the corner and it says teacher. I can have more than one class, so I have like 26 classes. In this one class, this Miss Weidert's class, I can see all my students' work in like a feed view of it. Anytime work is submitted, it comes up as unapproved posts, so I have to approve them before it enters the journal. So when I go to here, I'm going to see some of the work that has been submitted. So right now I have an option to approve it, I can send it back, or I can delete it. So this was the one that Julie did. Well, she did not complete all of the work, or she made an error. So what I could do right now is I could comment on it and have her, can you take another look at your work? Check. Maybe like read through the words before submitting. Could be another option besides typing. There was a microphone there, so I could have also done a voice comment as well. So if I press comment again, there's that microphone. So for some of your early learners, you can leave a voice comment there as well. Another option, since she did not complete it, I could also send that back to her. So it's going to be on her list to complete again. So that's a way to give feedback as well. So all of these, once I approve it, it will go to the journal for the student to see. Parents can be connected to this. Once I approve it, it also goes to the parent side. So they'll get a notification that something's been added to their child's journal. Another feature I know we talked about possibly just a little bit ago was announcements. I can send announcements out to parents and even students, which is a nice feature in Seesaw as well. So I can send it to all my students All my family members would be your parents and your families, or all students and family members. I can type a message like tomorrow is hat day. And then I can add an attachment if there's anything I want to upload, like a newsletter, an invitation. I can add photos as well. And then I can send that, and that sends it to the parents. I'm just going to close out of that. So that's another feature on the teacher side as well.
If you add a comment, sorry, Courtney, if you add a comment and push approve, is it possible for the student to make corrections and then resubmit it?
Yes.
Again?
Once you press that send back, they can make their corrections and then resubmit it.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the activity. So you saw that I sent some activities to my students to complete. So one way you can search already made activities, so you don't always have to create them, so that, especially as you're getting started in Seesaw, if you press on the plus sign and you assign an activity, you have an entire library of activities. So under my library, these are any activities that either I've created or I've saved from the Seesaw library. So they start saving under my library. We're under a school and district paid one, so we have an option of a school and district library as well. But then the whole Seesaw community library is a great place to see some already made lessons. I can search by grade level. So this is currently set up as a first grade class, so it always defaults as that, but I could also go all grade levels to search, to broaden my search. I can also pick by subject area. I'm gonna do language arts. And then I could also do search terms. So if there's something in particular I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna do letters this right now. And I'm finding all kinds of activities that I can assign to my students. So I want them to do this letter hunt. If I like it, I will heart it. That's gonna put it into my library. And then if I want to assign it to my students, I can press assign, and I will check mark. This is where my 26 classes come in handy here. I can check mark it. The nice part about Seesaw is it differentiates. So maybe I just need a small group of students to do that. I only have one student in this one class, but I can check mark just the students that I want that activity to. I don't have to assign it to the entire class. And then I also have an option to put it in folders. So if I wanted to put it in a language arts folder, I can create a language arts folder. And when that activity is submitted, it goes right into that folder, which is really nice as well. And then I can assign it to the class. So now that all your students have access to those activities as well. Is there any questions or anything you want me to go over again? Take it. Oh, yeah. If you're on a paid version of it, you can tag it with a skill. So let me just go back here, and I'm going to edit the activity. And then I'm going to go to more options. And there's skills. So here's where I can start tagging some of our standards with each of the activities as well.
So basic question that's come up is, how do you add students to your class?
All right.
A couple different ways to do that.
Yes. All right. I'm just going to delete out of that real quick, and I'll get back to the screen you want to be on. So anytime you're in your class, you're going to see this wrench right here. This wrench is a lot of settings are built into it. So if I click on the wrench and I have my class name, and I can name that whatever I want. So if I click on this, I can change the name. And then I can pick the grade level. I can add co-teachers, and on a free account, you can add one other co-teacher. And then right here is manage students. And then you're gonna have an add student button right here. We're on the paid account, which is, it's synced through our Clever. So like I need ID numbers and that kind of stuff. So it looks just a little different, but you would do that right there. You can pick how you want your students to sign in. You want them to sign in with a class code. They can sign in through an email address. If you use Clever, they can sign in through Clever as well. So they've got some different options too. So the settings is a great feature for teachers to go through. I always make sure that like I turn off students can see each other's work right now with them being at home. I just want them to see their work.
So Courtney, that's a good transition to another question. So
Okay.
Is there a way to have students collaborate or give each other feedback when they're at home or see each other?
Yeah, this would be your magic button right here, is if they can see each other's work right there. Or you could also publish to the blog, and then you could publish that work to the blog, and then they can comment just on that blog. So that could be another feature as well. If you're looking at a journal right now, and I'm not sure if I have blog set up in this class, but if I wanted to push this to the blog, there's this little globe right here, and it would just say publish to blog. It's now on the blog, and now the kids just go to the blog tab when they're logged in, and then they can start commenting on that. They can't really submit a piece of work together in Seesaw. They can't like collaborate in real time.
So, okay, good. Julie, there's someone asked a question too. Why would you want to add other teachers? Like, who would you want to add as a co-teacher?
If you are, like in my school, we have a lot of teachers that teach together in the same classroom, or they might add on maybe one of the special education teachers, or even myself as a technology coach. I'm a co-teacher in their classroom, so that we can both put activities in, we both can assign to different students.
And I know we've had a district too that they've added their speech language pathologist as a co-teacher, so then they could add resources or communicate with parents, just assignments.
Yeah, while we were closed, like all of our classes had so many co-teachers because everyone needed, it was our way to communicate with the students. So, yep.
Version, you can have pretty much unlimited number of co-teachers. In the free version, you're only allowed to have, is it 2 co-teachers?
One other co-teacher.
One other, so 2 people total on the account in the free version, but the paid version is unlimited.
So I'm going to stick on the co-teacher because I think Title I teachers, that would it be good for them or those kind of people to have their own classes, or should they be added as a co-teacher on a class or a teacher librarian?
It just depends on like the preference of what you're going to use it for. Like my Title I teachers co-teach in a classroom, so I would say yes, be a co-teacher. If it's kind of like they do all their work on their own and you're on free version already, it's okay for them to have another class. You know, if you're trying to work around, because you only can have one other co-teacher on a free version.
Okay, so I'm going to jump to another question. So I'm getting all of this. Sorry,
That's okay.
But these are good questions. Where was it? Let me come over here. Oh, you guys, co-teachers, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you can edit the students to tag each other, can they tag each other if they've collaborated, and then it will copy the work into each student, right? I believe only a teacher can do that manually, so no collaboration in real time.
Yeah, so right now my student sign-on mode is 1-to-1, so they can't do that. If I would switch my sign-on mode to shared devices, they could check mark into like 3 or 4 different students and add it to their journal. So if you use that shared devices, they have an option to check mark something and drop it into their journals. You wouldn't want to do that like in an activity. That's harder to do, but like, yeah, they're going to take a video of something and they want to put it in all 4 students' journals. If they're on that shared device sign on, that's log set up in this class. Way to do it. They have an option to check mark something and drop it into their journals. You wouldn't want to do that like in an activity. That's harder to do, but like, yeah, they're going to take a video of something and they want to put it in all 4 students' journals.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the Facebook questions too. Do you need to invite students and families with a code in order for them to participate at home?
Yes. So for students, what they used while schools were closed, they used the home learning student codes. So students could sign in using that, which you can just download all of those. And then parents, under the settings again, so I'm still under that wrench on my screen. Families, so you just turn family access on, you invite families, and you have a couple different ways to invite families. You can share a link, or you can click the print invites button. We usually do the invites where they scan a QR code. And then you can also change which language if you need the invite in a different language, which is a nice feature.
If students share to other students' journals, can teachers approve before they are shared, or do they go automatically?
No, everything is, a teacher has to approve it first. So that would just show up as an item in their approval. And then once it's approved, it would go to all four.
I'm wondering about class codes. Is there a separate student code for each class? Like math, language arts, science?
Yeah, okay, so if you set up a class and it's just your entire class and you use it for math, science, language arts, it's just the one code that they would scan into. But if you create one class that this is my language arts class, my next class, this is my math class, they're gonna need individual codes to sign into.
Okay, clear. This looks good. I'm looking at the, I think we're caught up. If we are not caught up on the chat, please feel free to add your question there or to the Q&A. But then I'll let Courtney and Julie hit the next tip.
Okay, so I also provided Stacy with she can push that out to you with a recorded session that I did earlier this summer.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why mine's defaulting back to mute. It doesn't want to hear from me. I also, Stacy will push out to you a session that I recorded earlier this school year with another tech coach in our district on specific feedback and giving, you know, just very specific feedback to students, like how to use stickers on their feedback on their assignments, commenting, all of that kind of stuff. And then with that, I gave her a PowerPoint deck as well that does have some of those stickers added at one of the very last slides. On that are a bunch of stickers in it with directions on how you can just basically add those to your pictures and put them on student work. So if I am in a journal, I'm in a student view, so I can't do it, but if I'm in a teacher view, I could pull up the student's work. I could drop a sticker on top of it, which is basically, you know, just a little image that you make, you know, you resize and say like, great job, great work, what are, you know, whatever you're doing. So she has access to both of those and she'll send those out to you as well. So it's a little bit more specific. Does anybody have any questions on the engagement piece? Because there's the student engagement piece, and then there's the parent engagement piece, and then of course there's the teacher engagement piece, and all of them really do work well together. This is a great one. Can we organize activities by day subject? I'm going to let Courtney take this only because she's in as the teacher, and as a student, I don't have access to the activity library.
All right, let me share my screen again. All right, and so what was the question again?
Can you organize your activities within a library?
Okay, within the library. So I am going to just go to the plus sign and assign activity again. And in my library, I can create something that is called collections. So treat collections like another folder. And so I have folders that are addition. I have folders that have all of the beginning sounds activities in it. And so you can create all these different collections so that every year when you go to teach that concept, you can just take that activity and now you can assign it to your new class. That is another way of doing that. And I can't remember on a free version how many collections you can have.
I want to say it's 10.
Yeah, so kind of think, I would almost do like language arts, math, if you're on a free version for that. Like in my fluency ones, I have, fluency is a great way to use Seesaw, where I put in some something I want the students to read. They can read on the passage, and then there's even an arrow where they can track what they're reading to track fluency. So that's another way of organizing it using your collections.
How did we use it? I'm trying to answer that one. What are some ways you found effectively to engage families in Seesaw?
One thing we've done is we've done challenges with our families. So there might be, we do a lot of reading challenges, like today's reading challenge, or this week's reading challenge is to read outside. Take a picture of your student reading outside, and then they send that. Just like the students have the photo, drawing, video options, parents have that as well. And then they send back that picture of the student reading outside. And then we sometimes share that at school, when we're at school, in like a morning meeting situation where all the kids get to see each other's pictures they sent in for the week. You could also do like, we're learning about shapes at home. Take a picture of a circle. So they might send a picture of a clock or something like that.
When you post announcements,
I would say in our district, Seesaw really was our lifeline this spring. All teachers pushed out, activities through Seesaw. This is how we were still able to teach by the standards, because we, within the Dubuque Community School District, have our own. We have the paid version, but we have when you have the paid version, you have the community library, you have your district library, you have a school library, and then you have a personal library. And so we had content teachers, leaders that were creating district activities that were aligned with standards. We pushed them out into the district library. Teachers would go on and grab those, and they knew that they could assign those to students and that they were working on standards aligned activities. And so that's how we were able to keep our kids moving along this spring. One of the features in Seesaw for Schools, this is the paid version, but it's a new one, is that principals or administrators can get on, whoever's an administrator on the account, and they can push out a school-wide announcement. So principal in the school, for instance, can get out, push out one announcement to everybody. It will blast to all the families, and they'll all get it on their end. So that's a pretty neat feature that some principals did start using in June, and it worked really, really well. One of the questions is, can I organize the assignments for kids by day or subject? So there is a calendar feature that you can use to push activities out and to organize, and then to see them again on the teacher side as well. You can use that calendar feature then to see what you've pushed out. So if you go to that calendar feature and you schedule them, then you can use that. Maybe that answers that question, I'm not sure. So Courtney's showing you the calendar feature right now. Now clearly in August of 2020, there's only one thing she's pushed out in this class, but otherwise it would be populated with like, there were this many activities and there were this many items that were pushed out that day. And then she can also set this for an activity. So she could go in on Sunday night and she could schedule, I want to send out 3 language arts activities on Monday and 2 math on Tuesday, or whatever it is, and use the calendar feature to do that. So she doesn't have to think about that every night. Some of those features are the Seesaw Paid, version. It is a slick version to have, though. It runs about $5 per kiddo. If you get it for multiple years, they do discount that. But I don't know, Courtney, that we would live without it ever again in our district. This is our, did we just end our 3rd or 4th year paid? I think we just ended our 3rd year paid, but probably prior to that, at least 3 years, we've been working in the free version of Seesaw. And then we went and they were able, you know, we kind of just went and pleaded our case, and they saw how many teachers were on board and really using it. And the paid version is how your district can unite. When you're a free version, you're just a lone island out there. But when you're in the paid version, you're connected by the district library and all that, adding co-teachers and all of that. Are there major differences in the Seesaw interface between iPads and laptops? Really, there's not a whole lot of difference. Chrome has to be used on the laptop, and I'm just trying to think, the record and draw feature, everything, yeah, now that they've done an update, it used to be the record and draw you couldn't, and now they've updated. So everything is the same between the laptop and the iPad version. Yep.
A question that came up on Facebook, when you do announcements, are they saved anywhere for you to see? So when you post your announcements, where are those saved at?
So you, let me unmute myself. So you have an inbox. Yeah, we're still looking at my screen. Okay, so you have an inbox right here. And this is like my test class. Like, I really hope there's messages in there. But then, yeah, you have your family announcements. And then you can also see what you've sent out to them, I think.
And then you can also send out a message and private message. So you can start a train of private messages between just you and a family member. And then that's only that family member. So in the beginning, we said that, you know, Courtney showed you that plus families down there below where you invite families. We send that home with families. It is up to families who they want to share that code with. So, you know, little Scarlett in a class might have a mom attached to her class, because mom might say, yep, I'm going to attach myself to this class. But you know what? Scarlett's grandma, I also want her to be attached. And Scarlett's aunt, and then her older brother that's off at college, we want him attached as well. So it's up to the family who they give that code to attach. So a child can have like 8, I've seen 8 and 10 people, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, older brother, sister. I know my own daughter, I have older girls too, and her sisters in college were attached to her Seesaw journal. And so they can all provide feedback. However, when the teacher messages one of those members, like just mom, all those messages stay private between mom and the teacher then. It doesn't go to anybody that's on the child's account. What grade levels are most appropriate for using Seesaw? I guess I would disagree with just the K2. It definitely is easy, but you also, there's a lot of legwork that has to be up and running to get kids up to using it. We are very successful through 5th grade, and I even this year did some pilots of middle school and high school where I went in and worked with the teachers, specifically in science classes where they videoed and recorded their labs and work, and they loved it. The kids, if you can give the kid something where they can record and do that, I mean, they're engaged right away. And then the parents also really liked seeing what the kids were doing, even though they were in high school, they still love seeing that. Is there a way to connect siblings? So parents just need it's one app, and then the parents, like each child falls under that app once they're added. So the parents go to one place and they can choose which child's journal they want to see for that day. Let's see. I'm trying to read through the chat as well. How do you create the collections? Can you show the content is aligned? So collections are a way to organize. Courtney, I think, is going to probably get back on, and sorry, she stopped sharing, and then she'll share again to show collections.
All right, and we want to see collections?
Yeah, they want to see how to create the collections again, and then how can you show how the content is aligned to the curriculum? Well, 2 separate questions, so I'll let her take the first one.
All right, so to create a collection, I can just go to the bottom of my screen. I have a lot of collections, and you can create a new collection. So let's see if there's a science one here. So I can create a science collection, and I can press create, and now it's in my list. And then if I had a science activity that I wanted to add to it, which this one happens to be one. And I can click my 3 little dots. I can add it to a collection. And now I'm going to scroll until I see, I already had a science one, but that's okay. And now it's added to that collection.
And stay right there for a minute. So the second part of that question was, can you show how the content is aligned to the curriculum? So one of the things that Seesaw allows you to do is they provided the template for me, but then I filled that in and I provided all of our Iowa standards. And so all of our standards are uploaded into Seesaw in our Seesaw for Schools account. So when we're creating activities, like Courtney and I have pretty high expectations for how our teachers create activities because we want them to be robust and engaging and we want them to be aligned. And so one of the things teachers can do then is once they've created that activity, you'll see at the bottom of the screen there, they can tag those when they're in the creation mode. Creating activities is a whole nother webinar, to be honest. We're not going to go there right now. But when you're in that creation process of an activity, and it's very easy to do, but you just simply tag the standard that you're trying to get at, or the 2 or 3 or 4 standards you're trying to get to. Let's see. Do you see any other, Stacy?
Home learning code. Did you answer that? What is meant by a home learning code?
I can't hear her.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
A home learning code is when your schools are closed and we need the students to be able to log into Seesaw. We don't want to hand them this one code that they use in the classroom. This code shows all the students' work, all the students' names. We don't want them to have that code. So instead, you're going to go to the wrench and you're going to get under the students tab, these learning codes. And this is just when they scan into it, they only see their work and it's their name. So it's a higher security so that everything's out there.
Great.
So then if I just want to download my code, or you can do it as like a link or a QR code.
Here's a good question. How can you organize student replies to activities? Can you have them dumped into a folder so you can check like assignments? Do you want to just show the assignment view with the activity?
Yeah.
So she's gonna, for Joyce to ask that question. So once you've, like, I can't do it because I'm on the student view, but once I have, as a student, created that activity, or I've done that activity, Courtney's gonna show you where, as a teacher, you can see that activity turned in. And she only has 1 student assigned to this class, but imagine under where it says Prescott Dolphin, if you have 25 kids, all 25 of their names are showing up here. And so then you can see who's turned in the activity, who's completed the work, and who's not. And you can look at comments right underneath there.
What's nice about that is you see the picture of the sort, you know who's completed the activity, and if you see an empty box, that's who still needs to complete it. So in a quick view, you can figure out who's turned in what assignment and who hasn't.
And then if she were to double click on top of mine, I'm Prescott Dolphin right now, it would bring up my work in a larger screen, and then she could interact with that if she wanted to.
And this one's in draft version. This is a new update with Seesaw too. Sometimes I always think about our rotations, and when we do rotations, sometimes students don't finish their work in the 15-20 minute rotation. They press draft, it saves it. When they log back in, they can finish their work. Especially for my older students. My 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders really use that feature.
Any last minute questions?
Yeah, we're ending our time together. So if there are any last minute questions, I'm trying to execute my teacher wait time here. Just let everybody post any in the Q&A or in the chat. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm gonna share my screen really quick and just remind you that there are more webinars coming. Let me share. I'm gonna ask Courtney, would you stop screen sharing for a sec? Oh, thanks. And I'm going to share my screen just to give you a visual of what is coming next. On this document that you might have seen where there's the descriptions of all of the webinars, I will post the recording after it gets processed. So it might be a day or two, but the recording will be here live. Also, Julie sent me her Seesaw feedback session and presentation, so those are linked too. I've linked Seesaw 101, 102, which is a resource getting started meant to train teachers. So that is available here. Those were part of the updates to this summer. And then there is a document or a slide 2 of our digital learning field guide toolbox that has a lot of other Seesaw how-tos, just quick Q&A, how do you do that? So there's some resources and another some webinar overview link too. So these resources I think will help get you started, and it is, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Julie and Courtney, once you get in and start playing, it becomes pretty intuitive, and especially getting started with that library. I think there's a nice library of collections of activities that you can do.
Yeah, intuitive and addictive.
And it is, again, the AEA system has negotiated some Seesaw for Schools pricings, whether you do it as a district or by an individual school. So reach out to your AEA tech contacts to learn more about that. Our next session is about Google Classroom and how you can effectively use Google Classroom, which is a content management system, but we know a lot of districts have been using Google Classroom. So just so you know that the next session will be tomorrow sorry, I'm like thinking about all of these things going on right now. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And again, if you can't make that, those will be recorded and posted on the doc with the session resources. So you can either sign up sorry, it's not tomorrow, it's Thursday. So links for Zoom will be going out tomorrow, but also they will be streamed live on the AEA System Facebook page. So with that, I want to thank Julie and Courtney so much for sharing with us today, and enjoy a fun and exciting start to the school year. A lot of positive comments. Thanks so much. I did share where the link is, so I think I answered that question. And you all have my email address, so email me with any questions and I can filter them as needed. All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.